Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story, and I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
I am that dude, Bodkins.
Yeah, DP lost like, deep. Yeah.
Right. Where he's wondering, he's like, I can't eat a patty.
He won style, like no weight classes.
Yeah, basically, like I said, there's been a couple guys that are like,
it's ridiculous. No way. There's nobody else out there. He's your guy.
That's just not my mentality, bro.
Yeah. Leave the ladder down. That's my always like, hey, somebody helped you out. Why not help somebody else out? Return.
Give a big round of applause for the one and only Bodkins Show.
Or bringing Craig Counsell down the interstate in a move unexpected. I had people.
I'm going to repeat that again, folks. I didn't stutter. Welcome to the Bodkins Show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of the Bodkins Show. I am your host, Bodkins, baby. Happy Sunday to you. Hopefully, everybody enjoyed their weekend as we are wrapping up the weekend and getting ready to kick off into another week. It was a nice weekend for me. One of my stepsons, he's graduated high school, so we had a big barbecue yesterday, had the graduation today, was able to watch some sports, obviously. We got Game 7 getting ready to happen tonight. Cavs and Pistons. Both teams were undefeated at home until the last two games. Now we get incredible, can't wait to watch the incredible big game James Harden tonight. See what he's going to do for the Cavs. But, and then the New York Knicks are in the waiting. Spurs dominate the Wolves, and now it's Spurs Thunder. Shea Alexander is going to be MVP now 2 times in a row. So that, that's kind of interesting. I had a bet on Wemby. Unfortunately, that didn't hit. But I did also have a bet on Shea, and that one hit. So that was nice, but not as much as Wemby had to hit. But I think that, to me, that's the series that'll represent the teams in the NBA Finals. The Netflix card was, interesting to say the least. I thought the outcomes were predictable. There's only 22 minutes worth of actual in-cage fighting. So we'll talk a lot about that type of stuff on Wednesday show, obviously with me and Bobby Blunts on Head Kicks and Haymakers. So, but don't want to give our guest tonight, as you know, every Sunday or Monday, usually we sit down with another content creator. We talk about, their favorite football team and this and that. And tonight is the first time ever guest, a guy I just reached out to on TikTok. You can find him on TikTok and everything else. He is a big time Jet fan. In fact, 30 seconds ago, before I asked him what his name was because I didn't know his name, he said, Jet, I am literally named after this damn team. And maybe that is why his nickname is Hate First Sports. Give it up for Mr. Hate First Sports, Jet, baby.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having me on, man. I appreciate the intro, too.
I always like to do it big, Jet. I'm guessing, you told me, hey, named after the team, so unfortunately, much like me with my Cubs, I feel like you were just adopted into this Jet fandom.
That is correct. Yeah, pretty much born into it. I don't think I think bandwagon and New York Jets, it's like an oxymoron. Like there probably hasn't been a bandwagon Jets fan in like decades. So I think every Jets fan you come across has been born into it in some way, shape, or form. So yeah,
right. Fathers.
Correct. Yeah.
Did somebody has got to wake up and snap out of be like, hey man, I can't do it no more?
That wasn't me. I don't know. Maybe one day a son or grandson might do that, but wasn't me.
Yeah. Is that when you so I'm guessing you don't have any kids?
Not yet. No.
Yeah. So are you gonna push the Jet fandom, or are you gonna be like, hey, just pick on your own?
I don't know. Tough to say. But I mean, they're going to be surrounded by, all this Jet stuff. So, got all this.
Knowing your luck, they're either going to be, they can do two things, right? Follow into a life of being a Jets fan, which, not the greatest winning time, or they'll be a Patriots fan just to rub it in your face.
Oh man. Yeah. Hope that's not the case. I mean, so I have a younger brother who's an Eagles fan, so he was just like inspired by like one of his friends. So he's like the only other. Everyone else in my family is all Jets fans. So like my other brother's a Jets fan, my dad. So Jets family, and then he's kind of sitting out there as an Eagles fan. So it's not unheard of. It does happen. So
he's the smartest one of the family right now. He just doesn't want to do the misery,
He's the only one who's seen a Super Bowl. So,
Jet, let me ask you, what was your thoughts here on this season that was of the New York Jets, and kind of under their first year head coach of Aaron Glenn? He's kind of quite the I'm not buying it. I don't see a great head coach from my perspective. Is the guy that I think is going to be a great defensive coordinator, but I'm not sure he's a leader among men. What was your thoughts on Aaron Glenn's first season?
Yeah, definitely a big disappointment for the season. I wasn't expecting them to become world beaters in his first year, but I really bought into the narrative where he was a great cornerback on the Jets in the 90s all the way up until I think 2001. And, he came in as like a great defensive coordinator, on that great Lions team. And, he wanted to be he wanted the Jets job as a former player. He wanted to be the guy to bring that change. And I really bought into it. And I was really hyped up. And then for the, I think they started out 0-7 last year. That first game, brought me some hope against Pittsburgh. Justin Fields was wheeling and dealing in that game. And I was like, okay, listen, we can work with this. But then they just started to fall flat. And, obviously finished 3-14, which is extremely disappointing. And now he's kind of starting it up again with, with his words. He's like, oh, Gino's going to take us to the promised land. And, I wasn't calling plays last year. Now I am. That's my calling. But, I wanted to feel it out as my first year. So it's I still want him to succeed. I'm still former player. He wants to be the guy to do it. And I hope he is, but just kind of hard to buy into it as much this year going into year 2. And, I think if there's not an improvement where we're competitive in every game, I think he might be on the chopping block, maybe mid-season.
Yeah, it does. It's not a good look too when there's videos of him falling asleep at the combine and those types of things.
Right. Yeah.
So, what is the problem with the Jets? Right? Is it the ownership, general manager? Because obviously, Bob Saleh had a lot of hope. Obviously, the couple of years there, and it just a lot of. But my dad used to tell me hope in one hand and shit in the other one. Tell me which one fills up faster. So, so is it ownership? Is it general manager? Why can't they get this thing right?
I think it starts at the top. I think Woody Johnson has been a pretty horrific owner since he's kind of been around, especially in the last 10 years. Yeah, exactly. I think the general consensus among Jets fans is that he kind of gets involved a little too much, but then he'll put his hands up and say he's not involved. I think that those report cards that the players submit every year, rated ownership an F 2 years ago, and he was these report cards are bull crap, and they need to be banned or not public. And then now all of a sudden this past year the Jets got a B in ownership. I that it just seems fishy to me. And then there's his grandson is what's he doing? He's simulating trades on Madden and stuff.
I was gonna say, wasn't there a deal with he's got a good Madden score with a couple players?
Yeah,
was that his grandson or was that Woody? I can't even remember the players, but I remember the story.
Yeah, I think it was his grandson or something, and was good at Madden or something. I don't know. I don't know the full details, but the fact that even became a story is the most.
The fact that that's out there is preposterous. It should.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen yet.
It's the kind of thing that only happens to the Jets. But I think to answer your question, I think it starts from the top. And, I don't think he's ever going to sell the team. He's got too big of an ego. I think he's going to, let it pass to his kids when he dies. And I don't think they're going to sell, which is unfortunate because I do think that he's the root of a lot of the problems. I think the GM, I love the GM right now. So hopefully he's given the GM, giving him space to build a team. I think that there's a vision in place right now, but I wouldn't put it past Woody to kind of stick his head where it doesn't belong and kind of throw a wrench in this rebuild.
You've mentioned the kind of the rebuild and the general manager. You like the general manager. What makes you like him? Is it the hey, we traded Quinn, got some draft picks. We traded, that we've drafted well, but like, what makes you, kind of like the general manager and can he get it right?
Obviously the quarterback is the biggest thing. Like Joe Douglas, the prior GM, like he made a couple great picks. Like he got Garrett Wilson, he got Sauce, got Brees Hall, Jermaine Johnson. Like he hit on a lot of picks, but he missed horrifically on Zach Wilson. So like the quarterback has been like obviously that's going to be can Darren Muji get it right? But I just like the vision. Like, we were having another bad year last year and he kind of was like, okay, this is going to be tough, but let's cut our losses and get some of these players, maybe sell high. I think that they sold high on Sauce Gardner with the 2 first-round picks.
Oh, yeah. That was the steal, I thought. Yeah.
And then I think we got good compensation for Quinnen Williams, too, with the second-round pick this year and then the first-round pick next year. And it's the greater of the Cowboys and Packers pick. So it just seems like for once, like he's running the team in a competent way where he's like, okay, we're not going to try and win it all next year and draft a quarterback first overall to a team that's like not ready. Cause that's kind of what Zach Wilson got drafted into.
Right.
And it feels like, especially looking at the draft that just happened, we're just plugging holes right now. And then next year when it's a stacked quarterback class, it'll be a much more complete team. Like it just seems like there's a vision in place.
Yeah.
Which is something that I haven't been able to say for a while. So
obviously the quarterback position's been the big question mark, right? Like it was, Zach Wilson. And I think everybody early on realized that's not the guy. Like he's probably not the guy. Then you had Aaron Rodgers for 2 years and obviously, unfortunately, never really got a full healthy Aaron Rodgers. I don't think anybody was really buying Justin Fields last year. And I don't really think anybody's buying Geno Smith this year. Like, is it like just be awful? I've been saying like awful for Archie is what everybody's going to try to do. Is that what the Jets are on? Or is just like, but you have to kind of hit this one right.
I don't know I hope that they're not going to tank right out the gate. Like I do think that they have some pieces in place and I think that with the other 2 first-round picks that they have, like I'm personally like I made a TikTok video about it this past week. I'm a non-believer in the Colts. I think the Colts are going to stink this year.
Yeah.
I think that we're going to get a pretty good pick from them for next year's draft. So I have the Jets going anywhere from like 4 to 7 wins is like my range. So that'll get us anywhere from, I don't know, like maybe a top, somewhere in the late top 10 maybe. So I think that it's a pretty stacked quarterback class. I don't know if Arch is the one that we're going to end up with, but there's a couple. There's Dante Moore, obviously, who kind of stayed back a year. There's the guy, I think his name's CJ Carr at Notre Dame, who looks really good, but there's questions on whether or not he'll declare for the draft.
Who knows what happens after like this whole college year, right? Too. Anyway, like
yeah, exactly.
Like you know what I mean. Like we've seen guys start off like the year, coming into the year, like, oh, he would probably be drafted, 1 or 2. And then it's like, as the year goes, it's like, well, like Ty Simpson, really, I mean, for the longest time, halfway through the season, Ty Simpson was linked to the Jets at 2, and then obviously through the draft process, the season unfolds. It's like, then there was reports Ty Simpson wasn't going to even be in the first round. And obviously the Rams took him at like 15 or so.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a crazy pick by the Rams, but I think even Arch Manning, like before last college season, they were like, this guy's the consensus number 1 overall pick.
Right.
And I think he was struggling a little bit last year to the point where he kind of decided pretty early on in that season, like I'm staying back another year and then I'll go after my senior season. But I think a lot can happen. People's draft stocks can go up or down. There might be a guy who we don't even know like a lot about who shoots up to the top, like, and has
Joe Burrow, like Joe Burrow was that way, right? Like, I mean,
yeah. He's like a 3rd stringer at Ohio State, and then ends up at LSU and has like one of the greatest seasons ever. So like something like that could definitely happen too.
Yeah. And that's like to me what the Jets have to get right. So like back to like Aaron Glenn, like will they trust him to kind of be the guy to make sure? So like, from what I'm hearing you kind of say, it's like, hey, I think they've decided like, yeah, we're gonna pump Geno Smith up and say he's gonna lead us to the promised land, but I don't think anybody's buying that. I don't even think they're really buying that, obviously. But I just think like, hey, well, let's just try to show that we can win 7 games, like you said. If they won 7 games, that's phenomenal for them. I feel like I'm kind of with you. I think it's probably more than 5 to 6 wins. But will they trust Aaron Glenn if it is a down year? Just like, hey, we know we weren't going to win this year, but we got to get this quarterback situation right, and you're going to be the guy to do that.
Yeah, I think that they will keep Aaron Glenn around past this year even if they're in like that 5 to 7 win range, but they have to be competitive because like the last few games of the season, they were getting blown out every weekend by like 20 plus, and they just looked dead in the water. And that's not the kind of culture that Aaron Glenn was coming to kind of establish. Like even if we're going to lose, like we're going to lose kind of like the Detroit Lions were when Dan Campbell was like, we're going to take a bite of your kneecap. Like even when they weren't competitive that first year of Dan Campbell's head coach tenure, like they were in every game, and like they were losing at the last second. And like
you could see him like, hey, this is a team on the rise. They're coming. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think, like I was buying into that even this year, but then those last few games, like they were just getting they had no heart. They were just down 3 possessions in the first quarter. So that can't happen this year. And I think if they can get to like the 5 to 7 win range and are competitive, I think that they'll keep him. And I really like the Frank Reich hire at offensive coordinator. That's a guy who's, has a history of developing young quarterbacks. And so whether it's Aaron Glenn at the head coach or Frank Reich, I think if Aaron Glenn gets fired, I think the Frank Reich's going to get promoted.
The head coach, or just like if it's as an intern?
I think he'll become the interim head coach, and then I think he'll remain head coach if they go that route.
I don't think you want that.
Disagree?
Well, I mean, I'm not disagreeing that couldn't happen. I disagree that I don't think you want Frank Reich to be your head coach.
He's been unsuccessful in the past as a head coach.
Right. Unsuccessful. What was it? The Colts and Carolina. Like neither one of those 2 places were great, and he wasn't good in either. And I don't like a third crack. I don't think he gets a third crack at it as a head coach. Maybe as the intern, but man, I think you're setting yourself back if he's the head coach that way.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like I said, like I hope that, like I'm still holding out a shred of hope that Aaron Glenn like is the guy who turns it around. Obviously, I'm like teetering a little bit, but if Frank Reich is the OC for like a young quarterback, I would feel better than I have in the past. Cause Sam Darnold, like he got thrown in and Adam Gase was the coach, and there's coming out about him now. Le'Veon Bell saying that he's high on crack or whatever.
I think we all knew that from the presser. So, it's like, Lev Bell, we already knew,
so like obviously Sam Darnold had all that untapped potential, had the season in Minnesota, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. Like if we had a competent coach, like do we get that version of Sam Darnold? Like, so like I just want a guy who's competent at developing quarterbacks to be there for this next crack at, finding the franchise quarterback. And I think that Frank Reich has a history of maybe not a good head coaching history, but he at least has like a repertoire of like developing young quarterbacks. So I'll give him that. And if he's around for that next guy, I'll feel better than if it's like some new, give it your best shot, a first-time offensive coordinator or head coach.
Yeah. Unless there's just like a coordinator that like a Ben Johnson type out there, like that comes out this year, like where an offense like explodes, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's the guy that I want to be my head coach. Just like I'm a Packers fan, and I've been telling everybody, I said halfway through last year, I said, watch out for the Bears. Like I am worried about the Bears. They are here. They finally got it right at the head coach, and they finally got it right at the quarterback position.
Yeah.
And that's and those are 2 things that you have to have. Like I've been as a Packers fan, been blessed to have, my whole life. I'm 40 years old, so I've been with Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, now Jordan Love. So like, I have been blessed with great quarterback play my whole time as a fan. And it's like those are like those. That's the one position you have to have on lockdown. And for the Jets, they haven't had that guy.
No, they have not. No, and that's like a lot of times like the rebuild has succeeded, except the quarterback, and that's like the whole like the whole house of cards kind of falls.
Right.
Like Joe Douglas, like I said, like he went 4 for 4 in that draft, like 4 impact players. But you put Zach Wilson with them, and we win 4 games. And you take a shot at Aaron Rodgers, he tears his Achilles, and so be it. Like you took a gamble on like an aging quarterback, and that's what happens. And then he lost his job over it. So the quarterback is everything. And like a team like the Packers has, they've gotten it right for a long time, and they went the route of sit Jordan Love for years, and he learned under an all-time great, and now he's showing flashes that he's next up.
Yeah, I mean, and they did the same thing with Rodgers and Favre. Like Rodgers sat behind Favre for 3 years. Like I sometimes think that's the best way to do it, but there's always egos involved, and there's this. It seems like the Raiders are trying to do that with Mendoza. Brady said he thought that's what helped him the most was sitting behind, Bledsoe for a year, and then there's such times where guys can come in and they light it up. So it's just it depends on the team and the organization, but. You look back at the Jets, it's like they've had a couple guys like here and there, like Sanchez had like 2 good years, obviously, was kind of carried by a great defense, but like they just never been able to get kind of like that home run franchise quarterback for, forever.
Yeah. I mean, even Sanchez at his peak, like he was a decent quarterback, but like he never, like even with him, like I never had the feeling that we had like our 10, 15-year franchise starter. Like it always felt like it would be like this temporary run that was, dependent on Rex Ryan's defense. So like I think other than like Chad Pennington, but I was pretty young when Chad Pennington was the quarterback. Like I think he was like the last like franchise quarterback, and then his career got derailed by injuries. So like So it's like I've really never watched like I've never really seen the Jets with like a certified franchise quarterback. Like take the Bills and Josh Allen, for example. Like the Bills were on tough times for a long time, and now they hit at the quarterback position. Now he's like they're going to hold on tightly to him. Like he's their guy for the next decade. So like I've never had that.
And they'll always be in contention because of him. You know what I mean? Like they'll always be like that's the thing. It's like They might come short sometimes than they've had in the playoffs, but like they're always going to be right there because they got the guy. Same with like the Chiefs, with Patrick Mahomes. Like if you got that guy, like he's gonna and he stays healthy, they're gonna put you right there. And if you don't have that guy, you have to have like breaks along the way, or you have to have a really like super something special, super elite, like the Jets had with Sanchez in their defense. They just couldn't get quite over the hump in those AFC championship games. But it's just like, or you had, like the Ravens in the 2000s, even with Joe Flacco, right? Like 2 elite defenses. And then you have to have like these 2 great elite, you have to have elite things to kind of cover. Even like Sam Darnold, like that Seahawks defense was really, really good this whole season, and he didn't play bad, but he's just not like a top 5 guy, but played really, a good enough and they're smart enough to win,
Yeah. A team that comes to mind that reminds me a lot of those Sanchez Jets teams is the Texans.
Yeah, with CJ
Stroud's definitely got way more potential than Sanchez ever had, but he's he had that really great rookie year, and he's like declined a little bit since then. But the defense alone like kept him in that Patriots game.
He just plays like a normal quarterback in that. They probably are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I have some friends of mine, and I've done some podcasts with them. They're big Texans fans, and they say the same thing. Like, if he just plays, they could have just hand the ball off every game, and they win that game, and they're probably in the Super Bowl.
The four first half picks was really hard to come back from that. And yet the defense still had them, it was a 1-possession game in like the third or fourth quarter. And so like that, they remind me a lot of like those Rex Ryan Jets teams where the defense is like Super Bowl caliber, can keep you in any game, but the quarterback is just like not playing to his
And they got weapons too. They got weapons. He's got to. I think it's just a make or break year for C.J. Stroud.
Totally agree. He needs to show up. He needs to. They just paid Will Anderson a ton of money. Like they're expecting them to contend. So yeah, I agree. I think if he has a bad year, if they miss the playoffs, or if they kind of get knocked out in the same fashion they have been, I think a lot of question marks start popping up over Stroud's head.
Right, same. And I'm gonna agree with you. His rookie year has been his best year. It's been downhill. It's been downhill since. So, let me ask you: as a Jet fan, what is to you your greatest like moment to be a Jet fan? As a Jet fan, like where you're like, damn man, this one's gonna live forever.
Oh, obvious answer in my opinion. The AFC divisional round against the Patriots, that second Rex Ryan playoff run.
Is that the can't wait game? Was that the game after?
Yeah. It was that game.
Okay.
So, but the moment, because like obviously that's like up against Brady, the guy who kicks our ass twice a year, and obviously like, I mean, it was so long ago. I was in middle school back when this happened. So, but playing against the guy who's like kicking our butt twice a year, and I had friends in school who were Patriots fans, and they would always rag on me whenever we'd lose to them. So, that play where Sean Green, the running back at the time,
I love Sean Green,
and puts the when he put the dagger into New England and like fell asleep on the ball. Like I remember watching that game. Like little did I know that was like going to be our last playoff win in a long time. But like at the time, like I was like, doesn't get much better than that. And then like that whole team, like Rex Ryan, you had Santonio Holmes and Braylon Edwards as receivers, and they would do the jet plane every time they scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Like that was like the good old days. Like it felt like, the Jets were like a force to be reckoned with. Like it felt pride in being a Jets fan. And like, it's just like insane how it's like, we haven't been back to that like high ever since. It's been like,
I believe the longest stretch of any organization of the four major sports to not make the playoffs.
It is. They were tied with the Buffalo Sabres until this year, and now the Sabres are on a run of their own. So yeah, the Jets hold that record alone now.
Ugh, man.
Yeah.
So what's the on the flip side? Because I always think I'd say this almost every week. Like to me, like when you're a fan, it's the defeats that are the ones that make you a fan, or like the heartbreak, right? Like that's the ones you feel the most about, like, or the worst about, where it's like. But you still gotta wear your jersey or your hat or whatever it is. Like, what's the biggest defeat that you've had to come?
I mean, obviously those AFC championships come to mind. The loss to the Colts, where we were up, I think we were up 10 points in that game in the first half, and then to lose to Peyton Manning, that hurt. Obviously, the loss to the Steelers the next year, but one that I'm gonna say, and this one kind of has been stuck with me since it happened. The Ryan Fitzpatrick year, where we had like the crazy explosive offense with Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker. All we had to do to make the playoffs was beat the Rex Ryan Buffalo Bills, who were not good that year.
Yeah.
And we were driving down the field to take the lead, and Fitzpatrick threw a pick in the end zone to kind of seal it for Buffalo, and then we missed the playoffs that year. I think we went it was 10 and I think we went 10-6 that year, missed the playoffs. That moment just sticks with me, man, because like obviously we still haven't made it. So Ryan Fitzpatrick had a terrible year the next year, and that kind of fell apart. Brandon Marshall left, Eric Decker left. So like that was probably the most exciting year of being a Jets fan since the playoff years. And I was thinking like, okay, like we got something to build on here. And then it was never the same after that.
That was Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles was the head coach then, right?
Yep. Yeah. Todd Bowles. So, and of course, Rex Ryan got his payback for the Jets firing him. So that just added insult to injury. Yeah, that's like one of those moments that like I think back on, like, man, like Brandon Marshall had 1,500 yards, Eric Decker had 1,000 yards, Chris Ivory was our running back, at 1,000 yards. It was Fitzpatrick's best year in the NFL. Like, how did we not make the playoffs that year, man? Like that sticks with me.
Because you got Fitzpatrick. That's what happens. You know what I mean? He has like these incredible games.
Yeah, he was Fitz magic up until he turned into Fitz tragic.
Yeah, and that's happens, all the time to him. Like it happens.
Yeah.
Happened in Tampa Bay, right? Like I think after he went to the Jets is when he went to Tampa Bay. I think, right? Or it was the other way around. I can't quite remember, but he had some great games down there, and then turned into Fitz tragic. So
yeah,
that's Fitzmagic football, baby. That's Fitzmagic football. Let me before we move into we'll stay with the Jets here, and then we'll move to some other things. I always do one my only real segment on the show. I call it the Mount Rushmore segment. Just give me your Mount Rushmore of New York football Jets that you've seen play, and then I'll give you mine after that.
Okay, sounds good. So just to be clear, players I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, because I always say because like I've never saw Joe Namath play. Like I understand.
Yeah.
Right. Joe Namath is one of the all-time Jets. Won the Super Bowl, but I never got to see him play. So I don't like to say like that's my Mount Rushmore because I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? I never saw the guy fucking play. Like I know history of the game, but I don't like to say that person's on my Mount Rushmore because I never seen him. I never got to watch him.
Okay, I just want to make sure because that's how I prepped for this question. So
yeah, that's how I do it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. So number one, this is my all-time favorite Jet that I've ever seen play, Darrelle Revis.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he's in our Ring of Honor. I think there's debate. I don't know. He's at the very least a top 5 cornerback ever.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Definitely the best Jets cornerback of all time. There's like a crazy graphic from the 2009 season where he like held all of these like future Hall of Fame receivers like Ocho Cinco, Andre Johnson, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens. Like he held them to like less than 50 yards in their respective matchups. And I think Ocho Cinco was like, he held them to 0 yards in their final week 17 game. And then in the wild card round, held them to 0 yards in both games, like completely took him out. Yeah. So like, and then, Revis Island, obviously, like that was super cool. He's probably my all-time favorite Jet. So have him as the first spot. Second spot, Curtis Martin. So he was the running back when I first became like a Jets fan. I was a little kid. He was the first jersey I ever had. I had like a tiny Curtis Martin jersey that I would like wear to school as a little kid. Like when he was, he was running for 1,500 yards per season on the Jets. And he's probably still the best running back that the Jets have had in my lifetime. I think, there's a chance that if Breece Hall sticks around long enough, he could contend, but not yet. So definitely, put Curtis Martin on that list. The third one, current player, Garrett Wilson. He's probably he's definitely my favorite Jet on the team right now. Loved the pick at the time because I don't really follow college football too much, but when I do, I generally root for Ohio State. So I was, watched him in college, was really glad when we took him at 10, and he just immediately made an impact. Like he's had some crappy quarterbacks throwing him the ball, and he's had 1,000 yards. Like I'm just waiting for like if Muji can get this quarterback right, I think he has like his ceiling is like offensive player of the year consideration, like as his ceiling. So
okay, yeah.
I hope he's a Jet for life. So currently my favorite player on the team. He's the only. I got this Elijah Moore jersey hanging up behind me. That's like a graveyard. But I also have a Garrett Wilson jersey. So he's the only jersey I have where it's like still a viable jersey. So I hope he's around for a while. And then finally, a guy that we just talked about, and maybe he isn't the fourth greatest talent I ever watched on the Jets, but in terms of like making me feel like happy to see him is Fitzmagic.
Wow. Okay.
So obviously there's the Fitz tragic piece of it, but the highs of like peak Fitz magic was like the most fun I had as a Jets fan in a long time, like since the Sanchez days, and probably the most fun up to this point.
Yeah,
it's just been so terrible since then. Like there's the play where against the Texans where he takes it. It's like a broken play, and he takes it, runs it into the end zone for the game-winning touchdown. He's doing his post-game interview with like blood all over his nose because he like took a nasty hit going into the end zone. Like he fully bought in, like he wanted to, lead the Jets to the playoffs. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but like I was so hyped like for those games when and then when we beat the Patriots in overtime that year, he threw a touchdown to Decker, led a drive all the way down the field. That was back when you could score if whoever scored a touchdown first, like won the game.
Oh yeah, sudden death.
And so we got the ball first, drove right down the field, touchdown to Eric Decker. He's like hooting and hollering, celebrating. Like, so I would say the caveat is it's like the highs of Fitz magic, putting the Fitz tragic aside. So yeah, that's probably my Mount Rushmore of Jets players I've seen in my lifetime.
Okay. So I have the first two. I have the same. I have Darrelle Revis as number one. Are just like you said, he's arguably the greatest, maybe the greatest player in Jet history. One of the best corners ever of all time. Then I have Curtis, my favorite Martian, as well. Like Curtis Martin, I think he's like top 10 in rushing, and spent an early part of his year with the Patriots, but his prime was with the Jets and doing great things with the Jets. So like I remember him as a Jet. And so my number three, I was surprised you didn't have Nick Mangold.
Yeah, I pretty much kept it to skill positions, I guess.
Yeah. So one of the 7-time Pro Bowler, key leader, was kind of their captain of those late 2000 playoff runs. That we've been kind of talking about. So yeah. And then the fourth spot, I gave it to the guy that I kind of grew up. I'm a little bit older than you, I believe. And that's Wayne Chrebet. So and growing up as a kid, the Jets always, Wayne was always reliable, man, until the concussions started hitting him a little bit too much. But yeah, Wayne Chrebet, I think fits into me. He's been one of your best wide receivers in franchise history. So, and it's funny because like him and Keyshawn just couldn't get along, and that should have been a good 1-2 punch. Keyshawn Johnson and Wayne Chrebet. But yeah, I'll put Wayne at 4. You mentioned something that reminded me. We talked about the trade of Quinn Williams and Sauce, but now they've locked up Breece Hall. And Garrett's locked up too, right? Like you don't obviously Breece, they just extended just like this past week or so. Like happy about that, and finally paying a running back as well. And are those two kind of like hey, we got our franchise corner pieces, we don't want them to be traded?
Yeah. So obviously I'm glad that we extended. So we extended Garrett Wilson before last year. It was a 4-year, like $130 million extension. So I think this is year 2 of that extension, or if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, definitely glad about that. Breece Hall, $15 million a year. It's, running backs, I think it's so tricky because after that rookie contract runs out, like some of them continue, like Derrick Henry is like still putting up huge numbers in his 30s. And some of them, like Ezekiel Elliott, they kind of get that big payday, and then they kind of just they don't live up to it, and they kind of get paid for what they did on the rookie contract, and then they don't continue. So I hope that and Breece he already has a torn ACL in his career. I'm glad because he had one of his better seasons last year. He was healthy all year. He had 1,000 yards. So I'm hoping that he can build off of that now that he got the extension. But I'm just exercising a little bit of caution because like $15 million a year. That's like I think he's like the 4th highest paid running back now. So I just hope that he, is worth the contract. In terms of trading, I think he's definitely worth more now than he was because he was kind of an impending free agent. So I think teams were hesitant to offer any sort of draft capital for him last year. So if we were to go that route and trade him, I think he'd be worth more now, maybe like a 3rd round pick or maybe like a 2nd round pick, depending on how he's doing. But Garrett Wilson, I hope we don't trade him. So
you got to get a new jersey.
Otherwise, my jersey comes worthless. He gets hung up right next to Elijah Moore up here. So
you have a unique, obviously the Hate It First sports. How did you come up with that in the whole trash bag over your head and everything else? Not trash bag, but grocery store bag.
Yeah, the paper bag. Yeah. So basically, it's been such a tough stretch for Jets fans. Like I said, like since the Sanchez days, we've had like the one like solid year from Fitzpatrick, and then other than that, it's been pretty miserable. And there's always like the sports accounts or like troll Twitter accounts will like post during Jets games like the meme of like the fans with the bags on their heads.
Yeah,
and it kind of just like it represented like some of the games that I watch, like especially during the Zach Wilson days. Like Brady Cook last year, like it's just tough to watch, and like it's like I get more enjoyment now out of hate watching teams that I don't like. Like if I watch the Patriots if I watch the Patriots lose to, I think they lost to like the Raiders last year. Like,
right.
That was
they did
like,
week one or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that was hilarious. And like that was like watching the highlights of that game. Like it made me happy at the time. And now
so you enjoyed the Super Bowl.
I hate watched them in the Super Bowl too. Like that was a great watch too. The Seahawks like were pretty dominant in that game.
Yeah.
So like that's another good example. Like I got a lot of enjoyment out of that. So basically the hate first element comes from like I've basically turned into like a guy who hate watches first and love watches second, because the Jets don't really give me much to latch onto anymore. So that's kind of that's the origin of the name, and then the bag is just kind of playing into that, like the shame bag that that people will put on when their team stinks. So
yeah,
kind of a blend of those two things.
I like it. So you right now, because the Jets are so bad, you're like, I'd rather just watch a good team fucking get their ass kicked. That team I hate, the Bills, the Patriots. Let me watch them. So one of those two teams, I hate them so much. Good hate watch.
Right. To give you an example, so this upcoming year, we have the Colts first round pick, and we have either the Packers, your Packers, or the Cowboys first round.
Yeah,
pick.
don't be hating on my Packers now. All right, jeez.
Now, I do think that the Cowboys pick is going to be the better one out of those two. So I do think that we're going to get the Cowboys pick, but I'm going to be rooting for all three teams to lose, because like if I see the Colts getting killed by division like the Jaguars this year, like I'm going to turn that on and I'm going to enjoy every second of it, and probably replace a Jets game where we're losing 21-0. Like I'll turn that off and turn the Colts getting the Colts losing on, because I'll enjoy that more.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at, and maybe one day the Jets will give me a reason to turn this account into Love First Sports, but I don't see that happening anytime
soon. So you guys
soon.
will have 3 first round picks this coming draft, because you'll have your own, the Colts and the Packers or Cowboys.
Yeah,
holy
yeah,
shit.
So that's kind of why
a much better draft class too, is from what the so-called experts say, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that even on this like down draft class, like we had the 2 first round picks, and then we traded back into the first round to take the wide receiver.
Yeah,
at 30. So
what
I
did you
think
make of the draft this year? Everybody's kind of quiet on the Jets, and it was like, who knows who they're taking at 2 or whatever.
Yeah. So I liked all of the picks. I think that Bailey can be an immediate contributor on the edge, but they're going to play him on the edge in the 4-3, and then they're going to move him back to linebacker in the 3-4. So I'm hopeful that he can be an instant contributor. The general consensus is that he's NFL ready. So and then the tight end, I was like a little skeptical. Like I had a live stream going during the draft, and when that happened, like I was holding a lemon because I wanted Mekhi Lemon, and then we got Sadiq. So I was like a little disappointed at first, but then I turned on his highlight tape, and he's he's a beast. They line him up at wide receiver sometimes. They line him up at tight end. He blocks really well. So I'm feeling a little bit better about that because we haven't had a really good tight end since like Dustin Keller, like back in the Sanchez days. So like
yeah.
I'm hopeful that he can become that type of role. And then Omar Cooper, we stole him from Buffalo. I think Buffalo was going to take him at 31, and we traded back in and leapfrogged them because then as soon as we took him, Buffalo traded out of the first round.
Yeah.
So I liked our picks, and then I think we got the cornerback in round 2, and his player comp was Aaron Glenn. So like I thought that was really funny. So like a shorter cornerback who can ball hawk type of guy. So.
And I think it's something to be said when you're taking guys from the national championship team, guys who've been played in big spots and in the biggest games in college.
Yeah,
and you did that with both those 2 picks.
Yeah. 2 picks in a row coming from that undefeated Indiana team. So I'm generally happy with the draft. I think that we avoided the landmines. Like people were like, "Oh, are you going to take Ty Simpson at 16? Are you going to take a quarterback early?" And I was like, I really hope we don't, because like the Jets are not a team that is ready for a first round quarterback experiment. Like we're still a year out. So I'm glad that we avoided those landmines. And now next year, we'll see where we end up. Like you said, we got the 3 first round picks. So that's why like it goes back to like the team building aspect from the GM. And that's why like I'm like hopeful for the first time in a long time, because it seems like there's a long-term plan in place.
Right. It seems like a blueprint at least to follow. Like, hey, we're gonna acquire much talent, and then once we're ready, we're gonna draft the quarterback, because then we can also add free agents because we're not having to pay the quarterback at that point in time too.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think Geno Smith, like I think we're paying him $3 million this year, so it's a good story. Returning to New York, it's low risk,
right?
Potentially decent reward. So.
If you get Seattle, Geno, that's improvement. So
yeah, he threw for 4,000 yards in Seattle. I don't think the Jets have had a 4,000-yard thrower since Joe Namath, believe it or not. So that would be cool if he throws for 4,000, but I don't think that's going to happen. But
you're right.
If we get 3/4 of what Geno Smith was in Seattle, that's 4 or 5 wins, and we look decent all year. So. I'll take it.
Yeah. So I noticed you're also a Mets fan too. You are just glutton for punishment, my friend.
Yeah. The Mets have been rough too. So I will say the Mets are probably my second most favorite team, but there's like NFL. I watch that like religiously every week when it's on. There's a tremendous drop off to like MLB, where like that's probably the next most thing I watch. Like I'll watch the Mets if they're in the playoffs, but like I generally just like keep up with their like I'll keep up with their record through like the ESPN app throughout the year, but like I'm not like watching the games every night or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm a Cubs fan. I probably catch at least 2 games a week. Like you can't catch, it's baseball. It's 162 damn games a day. You can't catch maybe retired people can, but I can't. I got a life to live, so I can't do it. But the Mets they've already they didn't fire their manager yet, have they? No, that was the Red Sox and Phillies, but everybody's talking about the Mets being fired and their manager because of how bad they
I think that his seat is burning hot right now for sure. They haven't done it yet. I mean, they're in kind of a decent stretch right now. They beat the Yankees. They won the Subway Series 2-1. So I think they're 6 games under 500 now. So they're
started off slow, but getting hot. And in baseball, that's the thing about baseball. Like you can't panic too much because, again, it's 162.
It's so early. Like they're only 3.5 games out of a wild card spot. For as bad as they've been, like could be worse. But like, I'm not a fan of their GM at all. Like I honestly, I kind of hope that they stink enough this year where they kind of give them the boot.
Is it the GM or is it the owner who's like, oh, is it Cohen that's the owner, right?
Yeah,
where he is just wanting to buy he tried to buy everybody, right? Like tried to go out and buy 2 40-year-old pitchers and Scherzer and DeGrom, and that didn't, or not DeGrom, but
Verlander,
yeah, that's who it was, and that didn't work, and then and now they went out and paid all this money to Soto, and that's that's
Mhm.
a lot of money to one guy, but it takes more than one to win.
Yeah. I at least appreciate that they're taking swings on these guys and like are in the running, because like the Dodgers, like the only way to compete with them is to dish out money to these like mega stars.
Yeah.
So they paid Lindor, they paid Soto. I hated that we let Pete Alonso go. I thought we should have kept him around. Didn't like they got Polanco to replace him, and he's been injured all year already. So the previous owners, the Wilpons, were like notoriously cheap, and like they just were set in their ways. And so I like that Cohen is at least like, listen, like he's like a hedge fund guy, like billionaire, like he's like, whoever we got to bring in, we'll pay him. But the GM is just like, I don't know. He's a young guy. He came from Milwaukee, from the Brewers, and he's like a very statistical guy. And he has like no pulse on like what the players mean to the city, because like he let all these like great Mets veterans go this year. He let Alonso go. He let Jeff McNeil go. He let Brandon Nimmo go, and they're all like doing pretty good on their new teams now. And it's like, why'd you let them go? Like, like they were doing just fine for us. So, yeah. So that's my Mets opinion. So,
hey, thanks for Pedro Armstrong, though. I'll take it. Thanks for PCA. So
yeah.
Trade half a season for Javi Baez for our center fielder, all-star center fielder for the next hopefully decade.
Yeah. No, he's looking back, that Baez trade. I remember being so excited when that first happened, and it just didn't pan out. But and then there was a trade that the Mets made with the Tigers a long time ago, and like there was like a farm system pitcher that they sent over, and I think he's like a good starter for them now. I think it's the Tigers anyway. I might be getting the teams messed up, but like just like trades where the Mets take big swings to try to go far in the playoffs.
Yeah,
they don't, obviously. They fall short. And then these farm guys, like they end up becoming contributors a few years later for other teams. So, hindsight's 2020, but seeing that happen a lot lately.
Is it mainly? It seems like it. This is just maybe people I've met in life. It seems like if you're a Jet fan, you're a Met fan. And if you're a Yankee fan, you're a Giant fan.
Yeah.
Is that how it's usually how it rolls here?
That's usually how it rolls. To be honest, I don't know the reasoning behind it. Maybe it's because Jets and Mets rhyme. I don't know. But that's generally the case where, like, for no reason at all, if someone comes up to me and they're like, "Yeah, like I'm a Jets and Yankees fan," for some reason I'll be like, "What?" Like, or if someone's a Giants and Mets fan, it's like, "Oh wow, that's peculiar," but there's like no rhyme or reason why that's peculiar. Like, just that the norm is Jets, Mets, Giants, Yankees. So
like I've met a lot of Jets fans, and they're also Mets fans, and like Yankee fans are Giants.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I think maybe a reason is because the Jets used to play in Shea Stadium where the Mets played.
Okay, back in
the shared a field for a while before they moved to Giants Stadium. So maybe that has something to do with it. I mean, they were long gone before I became a Jets fan, so that didn't have any influence on me. But I'm sure that's why a lot of people who maybe watched them at Shea Stadium probably just like both teams.
And then it just passed down from generation to generation. It seems like probably now.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad. Well, I appreciate you joining me again tonight. Man, it's been a pleasure, and we're kind of wrapping up here at the top of the hour. So let the people know where they can find you and follow you.
Yeah, for sure. So my handle is @HateForSports. I'm on TikTok mainly. I also have an X account with the same username. So those are my two main platforms. That's pretty much it. But I mean, really appreciate you having me on. This was a ton of fun. Love talking Jets football. As miserable as they've made me, always down to come and talk about the Jets and give my opinion. So again, really appreciate you having me on.
Nah, man, you're a true fan. Anytime somebody goes through, like, I think I respect because I'm a Cubs fan, so like I've been through some misery. Like, yeah, and not only am I a Cubs fan, I'm a Cubs fan who lives in the heart of Cardinal Nation, like our biggest rival. So like, I know what it's like to go through those rough fucking times and where your dick's kicked in the fucking dirt. Everybody's talking shit on you. So I've lived, I've had to go through those things. So man, I always respect like fans who are just diehard fans still to this day, even though it's like fuck, man, we ain't ever gonna win shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just we need to get it together. It's the owner. It's this. It's just like, and then you have those 1 or 2 special years. That's like, fuck, man, this is the year. This if we can just put it together. Like, we just need this. We need this and this. And to me, like, those are the best years. I love those years more than like the years you go in with expectations. It's like you didn't think this was going to happen.
Yeah, like when the Cubs broke that curse and they won the World Series finally. Like I'm sure that was euphoric. Like people are always people are always like jump off the Jets bandwagon like another team. But one day, maybe I'll be much older than I am now. They'll win it, and that'll be like make all the crappy years.
Right, it does. It does. Yeah. It makes it that much sweeter, So you're just like, hey, you know what? Too loyal in the game to switch off now. So
exactly.
So yeah. All right, Jet. Well, I appreciate again joining me tonight. Folks, it's been another great episode of the Bodkins Show. Again, check out Jet at Hate First Sports on TikTok and Twitter. I'll be back Wednesday night talking all things MMA with my guy Bobby Blunts. Again, we'll probably talk all that Netflix card that was up and down. We'll look at the talk the results of the UFC as well, and any other MMA news. The return of the notorious Conor McGregor is back, so we'll talk about that as well. So be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share for Jet of Hate First Sports. And me, Bodkins, baby. It's been another great episode of the Bodkins Show. Have a great week. Hopefully it's the best week of your life. Catch you on Wednesday, folks. See ya.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.